Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the AV Club podcast. It's good to be here. Thank you, everybody. Yes, I know it's been a long time. I've been waiting to use that. This microphone has collected a ton of dust, and that makes me upset for many reasons. But the main one is because I don't like this. I don't like to waste money, and I feel like this is a big old waste of money if it's not being used. So here I am using it just because I'm cheap and not because I love to do this. That's a joke. I love to do this. I'm really glad to be back. This episode of the AV Club podcast is brought to you by Whiskey Morning Coffee. I'm not sure if I'm still sponsored by them, but I have a couple bags left, and I still need to give a couple away still. But Whiskey Morning Coffee is excellent coffee for the common Joe. Not too fancy, not bland at all. It's definitely a unique in-between that delivers coffee that's good and consistent. Check them out, whiskeymorningcoffee.com. Use my promo code #hot in the checkout section, and you will get, I believe, 10% off of your coffee or whatever's in your cart. So no harm in that. Always helpful to get a discount. It's been 5 months, just about 5 months since I last did an episode or posted an episode. I did one in January with a friend of mine, and I'll be releasing that one shortly after this, hopefully. But I just wanted to get on here and really just update. I almost said the fans. I don't know if you guys consider yourself fans or whatever you consider yourself, but I wanted to update the listeners because I think it's important. This is my therapy. This is my creative getaway from all the other stuff I do. And so I don't know. I've missed this a lot. It's really good to be back. I feel blessed to have the equipment, like to save up and get the equipment that I want. And I got to take full advantage of it because life is short. If I keep waiting, I'm never going to do it. And so here we are back in the stew. Just to let you guys know, my dog is walking around and his little nails will clitter clatter on the floor. And so if that's in the sound, I apologize. I'll have to cut his feet off later for that one. So let's get right into it. It's been a long time, and I'm excited to get back. First things first, I want to lay out kind of what I've been going through on the thinking of what this podcast is going to be. I've kind of wanted to restructure it, and this might not be an actual restructure, but to me, it narrows it down in my mind because before it was kind of whatever. And it's still going to be whatever, but I have a little bit more of a narrowed path that I want to get specific on some days when I'm doing my solo episodes. And honestly, this is like an accountability tool for me. If I bring it up on the podcast, then I got to do it because then I'm just being a hypocrite or being a weirdo that's talking and I don't actually apply the stuff that I talk about. And so first things first, this podcast now is going to be dedicated to, it's still going to be a guest-based. But there's obviously times where I can't get guests. And so first things first, the guest will dictate the conversation. And not in terms of like they're going to give me the questions or whatever, but more along the lines of like if they're a business professional, we're going to go over what they are good at, what they know, what they're an expert in, and then just see where the conversation goes. Because those are my favorite ones where I don't know where it's going. And I also like the ones where there's an expertise or somebody who is experienced in their field, and we have a specific topic to go along, and I'm just curious by nature, and so I'll ask them questions. That's the same. Business. I'm going to start talking a little bit more about business because that's currently in my life. That's what I'm thinking about a lot and going through, having my own business, videography, photography, media company, which has been really cool, really stressful, but also really rewarding and really fun. I'll get into that later, but media, we'll talk about business, we'll talk about fitness and health because I still really am passionate about all these things, and fitness and health is also a huge part of my life still, and I like to talk about it. It's fun, it's interesting. Maybe you'll learn something, maybe I'll learn something through you guys' comments correcting me. So we'll see. But that's just the groundworks that I wanted to lay prior to starting this podcast or starting the podcast. And now we can get on to what I've been doing for the last 5 months. So what have I been up to? Let me just start off with this. been doing well. God has been treating me good. I got married in February. This little bad boy on my ringer here, on my finger. I got this ring on my finger. That's what I meant to say. This ring on my finger has meant a ton to me. And prior to getting this, I didn't know the effect it would have. In February 11th, 2022, I married my now wife. We weren't married at the time. She wasn't my wife before we got married. Now she's my wife. And it's been freaking awesome. I don't know how to really describe it. It's kind of one of those things where you have to really experience it yourself in order to get the full effect. Because that day we were told constantly throughout the, like, prior to our wedding, leading up to the wedding, that the day was going to go by quick. You know, remember it, take moments to step back. And so that advice was actually very helpful because it did keep us both in line with like what was going on and trying to be present in the moment. And so we were able to really take some steps back and exhale, take some deep breaths, make some jokes with each other, reflect, and just be like, how crazy is this day? All these people are here for us, to celebrate us. And it was a special day. Probably no joke, and this is not an exaggeration or not a cliche thing, but that's probably the best day of my life because it was awesome. It was freaking magical. And it's been really cool. There's like everything in our relationship is just elevated. It's like to the next level, which obviously, right, you're getting married. It's like forever, it's sealed. But forget about like the signed piece of paper by the pastor and the judge or whoever signs it. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking like the level of intimacy we're experiencing, the level of like trust, the level of love. It is all increased. And like that day kind of just, it seemed like the next day it magically just got more intense. Like everything, our love, it's so wild. I don't even know how to describe it, but even to this day, we might still be in the honeymoon phase, whatever, but like, I hope this never goes away, and I'm going to try my best to keep it this way because it's been awesome. Literally the best experience of my life was getting married, and our relationship was cool before. It was really enjoyable. I really loved it. And I was like, you know, it's not going to get much better than this. This is awesome. And I was freaking wrong. It got way better. And so I just wanted to highlight that. Shout out to Taylor Villa now. So crazy to see. She just got her social security card in, her new license. 6454384. That's her license number. No, I'm just kidding. But she just got her new license and her new social. It says our last name on there. That's a huge, I don't know. I didn't realize how much pride I had in that, how much it meant to me until she got those things in. And I was like, wow, you're like, we are one now. It's really cool. Anyways, got married. That's huge news. But we haven't gone on a honeymoon yet. We're actually going to go on a honeymoon in July 12th. We're leaving on my sister's birthday. Sorry, Avery. Shout out to Avery. But we're going to go to Florida for a day, go to Disney, meet up with some family over there. And then the next day, we're going to go to the port from which our cruise leaves in Orlando, Florida, and we're going to be on a little cruise for like 4 days or something like that, which is either really good or really bad because I get severely motion sick. The last time I was on a boat was probably a year or two ago. We went deep sea fishing with a bunch of work friends, and holy crap, that was the most, literally we left and I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool. It wasn't bad. Obviously, when you were like in the dock area, the bay, you got to go slower and then you can go faster. Before we even got out of our port, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the worst day of my life. And it was the worst day of my life. And well, one of the worst days of my life. I won't give it the full credit, but it was a horrible day. I was instantly sick. And that lasted for 2 hours. I was puking all over the side of the boat, which was hilarious. Somebody recorded it on a GoPro, so it like looks cool. Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad time. The cool thing about that trip, this is such a random story. Cool thing about that trip was the captain of the boat was fishing for me, and we were at this part Where were we? Like not Galveston, Port A or something like that. One of the islands in Texas. One of the islands. And we were fishing. They were catching red snapper. And all the guys in the boat, I think everybody got sick once. They threw up, and then they were fine. And then I just could not stop throwing up. It was crazy. This is really disgusting. I'm sorry. But the captain had my line and was just catching fish, throwing them in, having a freaking good time while I was miserable. And he was like, dude, you got to come reel this one in. So it's not a wasted trip for you, man. Just get one. And then you can go do your thing over there, throw up more. And I was like, all right, give me it. And so I did. And I was like moving around. I was like, I got one. I think I'm going to, and I got it. I reeled it in. And then I immediately handed him the reel, and I just went back to my little corner and started doing my thing again, but horrible. So back to the cruise. If the cruise is any better than that, it'll be a success. If you know me, and if you don't know me, I'm about to tell you a little bit about me. I love to eat. I'm a foodie, kind of, like, well, yeah, I'm a foodie. I'd call myself a foodie. It's not like I go, yeah, anyways, whatever. No need to get into that, but I love to eat, and I can eat a ton. And it's all you can eat buffets pretty much all day, every day. And so that's super exciting. There's a gym. I'll be able to get a little workout in, which who knows how much that'll do because I'll probably eat so much food. And then get to go tan a little bit, go to some Caribbean islands, and enjoy that time with my wife. That'll be cool. So honeymoon will come in July, and I'm pumped for that. She's pumped for that. We get like reminders every so often about, I think it's like, you have like 70 days to your trip. You have like 68 days to your trip. I said 68. Notice that. Yeah, it's cool. We have those little reminders all the time. I've never been to Disney. I always forget. I don't know if that's Disneyland or Disney World, the one that's in Florida, but we'll be over there for a little bit, and it'll be a really enjoyable experience. I hope. Hopefully I don't get sick. But what else? I put on my list. I got a haircut. It's weird. I've made probably the most content about myself during this period of me having long hair, like extremely long hair. And whenever I moved to like the Austin area, I started going to this church and meeting new people, as you do when you move to a freaking new area. And all the people here know me to have long hair, and it's been the exact opposite my whole life. Like I've had fade haircuts, short hair, side swoop, pompadour, whatever that look is called. I've had that my whole life, never had long hair ever. And then when I moved to a new place, I grew my hair out during the pandemic, and everybody knows me as like the long hair Aaron. And it's so weird because it just kind of puts it in perspective, right? It's like you stay in this area your whole life. Even throughout college, I had short hair. And then the one time I decided to grow it out, I meet a new group of people, and they're like, dude, nice hair, man. Like, it's the first thing you notice about somebody. And then when you cut it, they're like, what happened to the hair? But this is normal to me. Usually, this is my normal look. And so it's just it's interesting that people know me by like long hair and stuff. I don't know. It's cool. But the hair's gone. I need another haircut. That's some updates. I got the haircut before the wedding, obviously, and all that good jazz. But let's move into the business section of this podcast. Moving into the business section. That was what that sound indicated. So having your own business is scary, super scary. It's very challenging. It's difficult. And I don't know, there's a lot of different avenues that come with it, a lot of emotions, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, So for example, like some weeks I've been super busy, like shoots most of the days of the week and editing. But that is all in waves, my friends. It's like some weeks I'm up here, and then as soon as that week's over, it's like, okay, no work for a week and a half, 2 weeks. Oh, 2 weeks without money. That's cool. I don't need it. I don't need any money. It's weird, but it's so rewarding when you finally get that job, and it's making me actually realize how little I worked, how hard that it is to be your own boss, and how much harder I should have worked whenever I was in the pandemic, putting myself out there, making a name for myself in terms of like videography and media. It's tough. It's weird. And being in Austin, you know, it's not a very rare job. Like, people have this job. People love to be creative out here. It's probably one of the most creative cities in Texas. There's like only 3 that I can think of, like Houston, Dallas, and Austin. And Austin is more of like the quote unquote creative city in Texas. And so it's challenging because the market's like kind of oversaturated a little bit. But I was thinking about this last night as I was working out and stuff. It's like, dude, if you want to do something, if you want to make some money, all you have to do is try. Like, it doesn't really take that much effort to start trying. The effort comes in when the consistency is at play, right? So like when you're 2 weeks in and you haven't made a single dollar, that's when it gets hard, because it's like, okay, I'm not making money. What am I doing? Am I on the right track? Am I going down the right path? Is this the thing for me or not? And so that's when you start to question yourself, question your decisions and all this stuff. But like, the consistency part is what's hard, because when you're not making any money, it's hard to not make money. But it's good when it's good, and it's pretty low when it's not good, you know? So it's been fun. I really have enjoyed it. It is a struggle and a challenge, but it's a fun challenge to try to get new clients, try to convince them that your work is worth it, try to convince them that they need it and it actually will help them. Because look at the age we're in. We're in the age where video, photo, all this media is so important to highlight your business or get your name out there, your brand, your clothing brand, your products, your services. Like, I just did a barber video yesterday. He's like, I need this to help me get more barbers to work with me and to get more clients. And I'm like, dude, this will help you with both of those, because how is anybody supposed to know you're looking or you're taking on clients or you're hiring barbers if you don't advertise it? You know what I'm saying? Like, word of mouth only goes so far in certain markets, certain industries. So super interesting. It's hard. And I think that's kind of part of the reason why I've been away from the desk so long, the studio. It's because it's hard to worry about like, oh, what's my next episode going to be? When I'm like, dude, I need to make some money. I haven't made money in a week. I haven't made money in a week and a half. I need to get some cheddar cheese stacked up before I could start working on stuff again. But yeah, it's really enjoyable. I find myself really liking it, and it's helping me when it comes to talking with people. And so I can use that in this setting here. And so it's like a win-win situation for me when it's going good. But that brings me to another point I had, is like, I'm doing this because I want to do it. I'm not making any money. I'm not. I mean, I have a sponsor. I think they're still a sponsor, Whiskey Morning Coffee. Get your Whiskey Morning Coffee. But it's fun. I think I'd be doing this without it. And I still am, or I was more consistently, but I didn't have any sponsors. Obviously, like, this is the thing. If you love something, you'll do it for free. If you want to get to the point where you're making money, which I think is a reasonable goal to have. I don't think that should be the reason why you're doing it, but I think it could be a long-term goal, right? I think that's okay and it's acceptable. But when that switches, when your reason for having it switches with what your goals are, then like, if your reason for having it is to make money, then that's when it gets dicey. And so anyways, I just encouragement out there to whoever's listening. If you have something that you want to start it, because if you don't do it tomorrow, you're probably not going to do it next week when you tell yourself you are. And that's why I had that. I released a clip this week, earlier in the week, and I said this episode this Friday. I was very vague about like which Friday, because I could post that on like a Tuesday any week of this month or next month, and you'd know that I had an episode releasing on that Friday. And it took me like a week and a half to post that. I was like, gosh, I need to post this. So I did, and now here we are. You're listening to this episode on a Friday. And so do whatever you can to get the ball rolling, and then just worry about your consistency and your quality, and then don't worry about anything else. Your quality is like even last, because Sometimes it's not going to be perfect, but if you make that a roadblock from releasing it or putting it out there or doing what you want to do and starting it, you're never going to start it. Take that from me. I've tried a lot, and even with my own business, like getting out of my office door and like going to knock people's doors and say, hey, I'm a videographer. I would love to do your video for you. I'd love to earn your business. It didn't start for me like even in my first week or 3. You know, it took me a long time to get to that point, and it's still hard, but the worst thing you can do is ask, right? Or the easiest thing you can do is ask. The worst thing that can come out of it is they're like, no, thanks. And that's it. Like there's no downside to asking. There's only upside to asking, because the worst they could say is no, which then you're in the same position, not any worse. Best thing they could say is yes, which could lead to more work or more projects or more creative passions or more XYZ, whatever. Tangent. Anyways, business has been going decent so far. I got an attained a client that is kind of like on a contract, 2 of them actually, which is super helpful for an independent contractor like freelancer, because you don't really know like your consistency in your paychecks. So this will help me have that for the next couple of months. And also, it's cool to work with the same people. You get to know them. You get to figure out, okay, this is what this brand is about. Now I can help them execute on what they want to portray to social media or whoever. It's just been really fun. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is fitness. Fitness. I intentionally didn't say fitness in the promo video because I've heard so many jokes with like, oh, fitness, you know, like, oh, what's your favorite thing? Fitness. Oh, you want a fitness blank in your blank? And I'm like, dude, relax. No, I don't. I just want to work out. And I don't know. I thought that was funny, but also I didn't want to say fitness because now it's in my head. But like health and working out is what I said, I think, or something like that. So as you may know, if you've listened to this podcast for even a short amount of time, I trained for a full marathon during the pandemic. And that was horrible training for me because I wasn't doing it correctly. I was overdoing it. I was burning myself out. I was physically wearing myself down way too much. Like I was doing the wrong kinds of training. And I ended up not even running it because COVID canceled it. So me and a buddy from my church, we started running and we were like, all right, let's just do a half marathon. That's very attainable. We can do it in a few weeks, like a month. 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Yeah, like it's just consistency is what really helps with that, obviously. And so we trained for a half marathon and we did it. We were a little short of our goal because the freaking trail that this guy picked was so hilly and so windy. We were like running uphill both ways. It felt like in a headwind, which was the odds were against us. But we finished. We were only like I want to say like a minute or two. No, probably like 4 or 5 minutes behind our goal. But it was still fun to run it. It's really encouraging to run a half marathon. And prior to when I would run a half marathon, because I got up to 20 miles, I'd be dead for the day. I would literally be out for the day. My body would be in so much like stress and pain, and it would just be so fatigued that I couldn't do anything else. It was even hard to get on my computer and look up videos or do work because I would be so exhausted. But this one, I was able to run it and then go to work after and like shower, recover for a little bit, you know, have a coffee, have a smoothie, have some food, and then get to work and have the rest of my day to do whatever. I even thought about working out later that day, but I was like, I'll let it rest. So I've been running very sporadically ever since that half marathon, which is like 2 weeks ago now. Potentially have a half marathon in San Diego first weekend of June. And so I'm excited for that. That one is still, we're not sure. I'll be in San Diego for sure that weekend. I'm not sure if I'm going to run it or not, depending on how my boy Daniel is doing, Daniel Martinez. Shout out. Lifting, I started lifting immediately after that marathon, like a few days, and it was really, really good. I've been getting back into the gym. I feel bigger and stronger than I ever have, or honestly, yeah, than I ever have. And I just need to get a little bit more lean for the summer. Those are a couple of my goals. Yeah, yeah, just still trying to find my lane, my avenue in this life, this journey, making people laugh and smile, entertaining people however I can, and got a big year planned. I have some big goals ahead, and I'm gonna hit them. I think I'm at this point where I'm like, the rubber's got to meet the road at some point, and so that's this year. And so I've already started on a lot of projects that I want to do, and I've got some planned out that I'm going to do, and let's see where this takes us. So hopefully I get some more guests on. This is the end of it. I'm going to try to make it less than 30 minutes. The solo one's for sure less than 30. The whenever I have a guest on, I'm going to try to make those around 45 to 50 minutes. No longer than that, just because, I don't know. I think we can get some good value out of that short amount of time, and it'll be fun. So I'm excited. Thank you guys for tuning in and sticking with me. This is only the beginning. I'm so excited. I feel so confident about this. And this confidence doesn't lie in me. It's like my confidence is like, I think personally it's in like the work that you put in, and spiritually I think God is like the sole purpose of my confidence. And so I'm so excited to live this life. Thankful. I'm blessed. Yeah, that's the end of this episode. We will see you in the next one, and make sure you like and subscribe. I'm going to put this on YouTube, obviously, Spotify. Leave me a review if you can, or if you're willing to. Be honest. If you don't like it, tell me why. If you do like it, tell me why. And looking forward to the rest of this journey. Have a great day. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next Friday. Peace out.